management group, and they have a new initiative called the River Run Network. Joaquin, you want to go ahead and take it?
Certainly, and thank you so much for the invitation. Yes, my name is Joaquin Murrieta. If you hear something funny in my accent, I'm from Mexico. I grew up in Hermosillo, Sonora, and Franklin knows a little bit or my name, and it's the kind of the Robin Hood of California, as some people calls it, or the bandit, depending on which side you want to see it. And but I got here to Tucson a few years ago, like over 20 years, thanks to the U of A. Did some studies in there, my master's in economics and natural resources, as well as my PhD on natural resources. So I joined Watershed Management Group, which is a 13, 14-year-old nonprofit here in Tucson. We specialize on watershed management from an urban perspective. And I really like that mission, because most humans are in urban environments. We are enclosed right now, whether we like it or not. But that's our main idea. How do we create, how do we build, how do we live better in natural cities? So that's kind of what got me to work at Watershed Management Group. I've done a lot of work in rural areas, in parks, in pristine areas. But for the last 7 years, it's been fascinating working in urban environments and mainly working on river restoration in urban environments. I do a lot of education. I work a lot with schools. I work a lot with training on green infrastructure, on water harvesting, on parks, on open spaces. So today, what I want to share with you, and this is precisely the River Run Network. It's not a membership, but it's we reached 2,000 people involved in the River Run Network last 2 weeks ago. We initiated this with the vision idea to restore the Santa Cruz River. So our science, our knowledge, together with some other partners, is telling us that we can actually restore the Santa Cruz River in the next 40, 50 years. And we develop a strategic plan for that. And that's where you come into place. We put together the short version of the strategic plan, and which is around 20 pages. And we are seeing the wisdom of groups like yours, the wisdom of the community of Tucson, just to let us know if we are in the right track, if you like what you're seeing, you don't like what you're seeing, any recommendations and in terms of this strategic plan. I put together some very short presentation. I can continue talking like this, or I can show you some images, some pictures of this strategic plan of the Santa Cruz River, the kind of the visualization that we have, how this river can actually look like in 30, 40 years from now. And this is our office that actually right now we're doing self-guided tours. We have an app or we have an application that you can download and you can come and visit our office with groups not bigger than 5 people. So it's oriented more for families, it's oriented more for your team, as we call them. So if you're interested in that, that'll be great to see you in our campus, which I haven't been there since, I mean, I go to pick up things, but since March. We are 15 people working there pretty much full time, but this is our river. This is how the Santa Cruz River used to look like. Probably you've seen these images somewhere, but this is the Santa Cruz River in 1904. And the meaning of Tucson is precisely that. Tucson, what it means is at the base of Black Mountain. And talking with some other people, some of them like to add water to it. So the body of water underneath the Black Mountain. So that's what Tucson pretty much, that's the meaning of Tucson. It has a wonderful meaning. So imagine bringing that river back to our city. And it doesn't take that long. It's only 40 years. Can we do that? Yes. The Chicago Cubs waited 100 years to win the World Series. So we can wait 40 years to bring the river back. This is how the river looks by 80 years. From 1904 to 1984, that's how the river started looking like. Actually, you don't see a river. You don't see a riparian corridor. You don't see the mesquite bosque that used to be in there. From that to this, in about 70 years. So we want to bring it back in 40 years. And it's not going to be the same river, but we can actually make it happen. This is our vision. This is an artistic vision on how the mesquite bosque between San Javier and San Agustin can look like along the Santa Cruz River. This is how the river looks right now. This is at Cushing Street, looking at a mountain. So one of the visions is this. I don't know if you know the name of Dennis Caldwell. He did these drawings with some information that we provide to him in terms of water flows, in terms of density of trees, in terms of density of people. So anyway, this is a very good representation on how the river can look like. And if I ask you, I mean, which one do you like better, this one or that one? It's pretty obvious the answer. And yes, we have some water right now in the Santa Cruz River, thanks to Tucson Water, the Heritage Project. But it's not about turning a faucet. It's about restoring our aquifer. It's about restoring our waterways. How are we going to do that? Well, there is different ways of doing it. We can infiltrate, we can conserve, and we can enhance our natives' gardens, our rain gardens in Tucson. We work at the residence level, at the school level, churches, business level to infiltrate the water right on site. We are working with green infrastructure along the streets of Tucson, uplands on the arroyos, and also across the floodplains here in Tucson. This is a very nice Pima County project we finished last year. In order to get to this, it's a whole combination of techniques in here, including water conservation. This is my house, for example. I just wanted to show you, this is a rain garden. This is how it looks like when it rains. This was like in May last year. We got a rain in May. And these are all the pechitas. These are the beans from this mesquite tree. I didn't collect those, but I did collect some others. But this is how I'm infiltrating water right here in my house. This is a pollinator garden that I see so many butterflies, so many pollinators in front of my house. So ways that you can help us, it's mainly, well, it's a lot of ways. But one that we are promoting is the River Run Network. If you want to be part of the River Run Network, if you want to help us monitor, if you want to help us educate additional community members of the community of Tucson, you're very, very welcome to join the River Run Network. We do a lot of community science. We do a lot of cleanups. We do a lot of education. And we do special events for the network people. Something we call the creek walks. And it will actually be very fun to do a creek walk with one of you from the Arizona Master Naturalists. That will be fascinating if we can actually partner that way. We invite experts, we talk about specifics, or we talk about big pictures on these creek walks. And the specific ask that I have for you right now is we need your help. We need the help of the community to visualize, to put together this framework, to put together this strategic plan for the River Run Network. We have this vision of 50 years. We put that plan together, as I mentioned. If you go to that link, it's going to take you to this page in our webpage. And you have two options. You can look at the short version of our plan, and that's where we need your opinion. your thinking, your wisdom. And also, if you don't want to take the whole view of the plan, the 9 pages, you can just take the survey. We have a short online survey. You click there and it takes you to a monkey survey, and it takes you 10 minutes of how do you see rivers, how do you relate to rivers, how you relate to washes here in Tucson, to the arroyos, how do you enjoy or not enjoy the rain, those type of questions. And that way we're understanding a little bit your input in terms of relation to open space, to relation to flowing rivers back here to Tucson. So this is just how the plan looks like. By 2070, even before that, we can make the Santa Cruz River flow again with the help of the community. So right now we're soliciting your help in looking at this strategic plan. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you. This is me just being silly in the rain. And just before a very gentle rain, believe it or not, that's 5 summers ago. And then I move away, and that's what happens. So those are my contacts right there. If you want additional information, if you want to talk to us, if you want to talk to me about this river plan, about other things like developing a creek walk together. I really like that idea, actually. So that's something I wanted to share with you. I'm going to stop there and to see if you have any questions, any observations. So anyway, I think that's my time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Joaquin. I actually had a couple of questions. When we're going to restore it to 1904, does that mean that it'll be continuous flow or still intermittent?
In some areas of the Santa Cruz, it's going to be continuous flowing. There were some areas like that. And right now, if you go to the San Javier mission with the Tohono O'odham, for example, it is a continuous flow right now, as started from 2 years ago up to the present. So it's a constant water right there. And we got so excited with that. It's other conditions in there. But in that section, for example, it was flowing most of the time, all the time. In some areas here in downtown Tucson, it was flowing in some areas as well. So it's going to be perennial flow in the Santa Cruz. And the trick there is to restore the aquifer. And that's the importance of water harvesting and green infrastructure.
Okay. So it's my understanding, so we can get this out to the rest of our membership, that there's 2 things then, that people can actually join the initiative and go down there and help with events and stuff like that by becoming a volunteer at Watershed Management. But minimally, you would like people to go onto the site and give you feedback on your strategic plan, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we'll highly appreciate that.
Excellent.
We put it together. We don't want it to be just overthinking. It takes the community to bring our rivers back.
Carol.
Quick question. Where would be, if in the heat, of course, it's going to be a short visit for me, where would you suggest we go visit? There's a large stretch of river. I'm not sure which would be the optimal place.
I mean, right now, if you want to go visit the river, what we're saying right now is go visit our link and give us your feedback on the strategic plan. If you want to go visit the river, I highly recommend the heritage area, anywhere between 29th Street to Congress Street. That's where you're going to see some water flowing. With some special permits, you can talk with the San Javier, the Tohono O'odham district, and you might be able to come to that perennial flowing of the river that is happening right now.
And just to make sure everyone understands, you know, this is not what's flowing out of the Sweetwater area. That's been going for a long time, you know, the reclaimed water. I was just down in this area close to Desert Survivors. If you know where that nursery is, you can go right down on the river there. and it's just amazing. There's a stream of water flowing up from the south. It's
Yeah.
crazy cool to go down there. So if you haven't been down there, really go down there and look at that.
If you're interested, we're going to have, I think it's this Thursday. You can still register. We're going to have a creek walk. It's going to be a virtual one. It's Trevor, my colleague Trevor Hare, as well as a member of the University of Arizona, Michael Bogan. I think he's doing a lot of research on the bugs and butterflies and dragonflies, I should say, for the Santa Cruz River. And so this Thursday, we're having that, a virtual creek walk with Bogan. Check us online and you can register there.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Joaquin? I have sort of one closing one.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So if we wanted to organize a creek walk with you, what would be the best way for us to do that? Do you want to give us some dates and then?
Right now, if you send me an email, let's talk about that. But okay. Usually it's just we agree on a site to go visit, and it doesn't need to be the Santa Cruz. It can be Pantano, it can be Sabino, it can be one of the washes here, or arroyos as we call them here in Tucson, or an urban site that we have worked together or something like that. And we agree on the theme and we go from there.
Perfect. Okay.
That'll be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. So Penny, maybe you and I can contact Joaquin and we can put together a date, find a date that works and come up with something and share it with everybody. Because Penny's doing our advanced trainings. So awesome. Thanks.
Okay, well, Joaquin, thank you very much. But before we move on, I'm pretty fascinated with your field of study, cultural ecology. Where were these things when I was in college? I mean,
yeah, really.
Can you tell us a little bit about cultural ecology? Isn't that the coolest thing in the world, or what?
Yeah, it took some effort. It wasn't there. I applied 3 times to the School of Natural Resources for my PhD. When I was applying for my PhD, they keep telling me no. They keep sending me to anthropology. But I keep telling them, no, I need to be here on natural resources because I want to study the relation of us humans with the environment. How do we relate or not relate to the environment? So things like that. And so I study there, my PhD, and it's basically on human perception of the environment, and my mind anthropology and geography. So I put together basically that. After some of us went into that field, the School of Natural Resources started teaching some of those classes, the human dimensions of natural resources with Bill Shaw and Bill Halverson. So it was some of us that started questioning our relation, we as human, and behavior towards nature. I researched the aesthetics of the Sonoran Desert and comparing to other deserts, and what's the aesthetic value of our deserts here in the world. Because a lot of us think it's an empty, bare piece of land, but it's not. It's a lot of life, and so that was very interested on that relation of humans and deserts. It's a fascinating field. I study humans and our relation to nature.
That's cool, really cool. Okay, well, thank you very much, Joaquin. And I'm sure many of us we'll get the word out on what you guys need and see if we can help.
Thank you so much, and very nice to see you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. Love it. Cool.
Nice to see you on the screen.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Gene, can you hear me? Boros? Gene?